The Ottoman Empire, from expansion to decline. The Ottoman Empire was one of the longest-lasting and most powerful empires in world history. For more than 6 centuries, it ruled over vast territories across Europe, Asia, and Africa. From its rise in the late 13th century to its final collapse after World War I, the story of the Ottoman Empire is filled with glory, conquests, culture, and ultimately, decline. The rise of the Ottomans. The Ottoman state was founded around 1299 by Osman I, a Turkish tribal leader in Anatolia. His small principality gradually expanded, taking advantage of the weakening Byzantine Empire. The Ottomans were skilled warriors and used both cavalry and gunpowder weapons to strengthen their power. In 1453, under Sultan Mehmed II, the Ottomans achieved one of their greatest victories, the conquest of Constantinople. This city, renamed Istanbul, became the new capital of the empire and a symbol of Islamic and imperial power. The fall of Constantinople marked the end of the Byzantine Empire and the beginning of the Ottomans as a true world power. The Golden Age of Expansion. The 16th and early 17th centuries are often called the Golden Age of the Ottoman Empire. During this time, the empire stretched across 3 continents, including the Middle East, North Africa, much of Eastern Europe, and parts of the Arabian Peninsula. The most famous ruler of this era was Suleiman the Magnificent, 1520 to 1566. Under his reign, the Ottomans reached their greatest territorial expansion. They controlled lands from Hungary in the west to Iraq in the east, and from Yemen in the south to the Crimean Peninsula in the north. Suleiman was not only a conqueror, but also a lawmaker and patron of culture. He modernized the legal system, supported trade, and encouraged the arts, architecture, and literature. The empire became a center of Islamic learning and culture, with magnificent mosques, palaces, and institutions built in Istanbul and other cities. Military strength and administration. The Ottomans had one of the most advanced military systems of their time. Their elite soldiers, known as the Janissaries, were highly trained and loyal to the Sultan. The use of gunpowder, cannons, and muskets gave them an advantage in warfare. The empire was also well organized administratively. It was divided into provinces governed by officials loyal to the Sultan. Non-Muslims, such as Christians and Jews, were allowed to practice their religions under a system called the millet, which gave them limited self-rule. This tolerance helped the Ottomans govern a diverse population. The beginning of decline. After Suleiman's death in 1566, the empire began to face challenges. Successive sultans were often weak or uninterested in ruling effectively, leaving power in the hands of advisors and court officials. The once strong Janissaries became corrupt and resistant to modernization. By the 17th century, the empire's military campaigns were no longer as successful. In 1683, the failed siege of Vienna marked the turning point. From then on, the Ottomans were pushed back in Europe by stronger European powers like Austria and Russia. Internal weaknesses. The decline of the empire was not only due to military defeats. Corruption, heavy taxation, and economic troubles weakened the state. Trade routes shifted to the Atlantic after the discovery of the Americas, reducing the Ottomans' control over global trade. In addition, nationalist movements among Greeks, Serbs, Arabs, and other groups created internal unrest. The empire struggled to hold together its diverse populations. The sick man of Europe. By the 19th century, The Ottoman Empire was often called the sick man of Europe. European powers such as Britain, France, and Russia interfered in Ottoman affairs, sometimes supporting independence movements or demanding territorial concessions. Attempts at reform, known as the Tanzimat reforms, tried to modernize the army, administration, and legal systems, but they were not enough to stop the decline. The empire became increasingly dependent on European loans and alliances. The final collapse. The empire's final blow came during World War I, 1914 to 1918. The Ottomans joined the Central Powers, Germany and Austria-Hungary, and suffered devastating defeats. After the war, victorious Allied powers occupied much of its territory. In 1922, the last Ottoman Sultan, Mehmed VI, was deposed, and the empire officially came to an end. In its place, Mustafa Kemal Ataturk founded the modern Republic of Turkey in 1923, marking the final chapter of the Ottoman story. Conclusion. The Ottoman Empire rose from a small Anatolian principality to one of the most powerful empires in history. It left behind a rich cultural and architectural legacy, influencing art, law, and religion across 3 continents. Yet, like many great empires, it eventually weakened under the weight of internal struggles and external pressures. From glorious expansion to gradual decline, the Ottoman Empire remains a central chapter in world history.